Part 1. The Origins of Military Parades. Military parades have existed for thousands of years. Long before modern nations existed, rulers understood something important. Military power wasn't enough to win wars. It also had to be seen. Victorious armies marched through cities carrying banners, weapons, prisoners, and treasure. The purpose was simple: to inspire citizens and intimidate enemies. And one of the earliest and most famous examples began in ancient Rome. Part 2. Ancient Rome and the First Great Triumph. Around 223 BC, Roman general Marcus Claudius Marcellus defeated the Insubrian Gauls and captured Mediolanum, modern-day Milan. After the victory, he returned to Rome in a massive triumphal parade. For the Romans, this was far more than a celebration. It was a sacred political ritual. Marcellus carried the armor and weapons of the enemy leader he had personally defeated in combat. Crowds filled the streets of Rome. Soldiers marched proudly through the city, while citizens cheered from every direction. From that moment on, Roman triumphs became symbols of imperial power for centuries. Part 3. Napoleon's massive show of force. August 1804, near the French coast at Boulogne-sur-Mer, Napoleon Bonaparte staged one of the most dramatic military parades in Europe. His goal? Preparing for a possible invasion of Britain. Napoleon gathered the Grande Armée, the most powerful military force in Europe at the time. But this event was more than military preparation. It was political theater. During the ceremony, Napoleon awarded medals to around 2,000 soldiers and civilians. He wanted his army to see glory, his people to see strength, and Europe to see French ambition. Today, the Grande Armée column near Boulogne still stands as a reminder of that moment. Part 4. America's Victory Parades. In 1865, after the American Civil War ended, more than 145,000 Union soldiers marched through Washington, D.C. in an event known as the Grand Review of the Armies. It was the final march before many troops returned home. Newspapers called it one of the greatest military celebrations ever seen in America. Decades later, the United States continued the tradition after major wars. In 1919, more than 25,000 soldiers from the 1st Division returned to New York after World War I. They marched alongside General John J. Pershing through enormous cheering crowds. More than 2 million Americans had served in the war. Tens of thousands never came home. Then, in 1946, after World War II, over 12,000 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division marched through New York City. The streets were packed with spectators. It became one of the city's largest military parades ever. And in 1991, after the Gulf War, nearly 4 million people flooded the streets to welcome returning veterans. Paper filled the skies above Manhattan in what became known as a ticker tape parade. Once again, military parades became symbols of national pride and victory. Part 5. Nazi Germany and the Power of Propaganda. But not every military parade celebrated peace or victory. Sometimes, they became tools of propaganda. Between 1933 and 1938, Nazi Germany organized enormous rallies in Nuremberg. Hundreds of thousands attended. Soldiers marched beneath torchlight. Massive banners covered the city. And Adolf Hitler used these spectacles to demonstrate the absolute power of the Nazi regime. The parades were carefully designed to create unity, loyalty, and fear. Military spectacle had become psychological warfare. Part 6. The Soviet Union and the Missiles of Red Square. In 1965, the Soviet Union held a major Victory Day parade in Moscow's Red Square to celebrate 20 years since the defeat of Nazi Germany. But the most unforgettable part wasn't the marching soldiers. It was the missiles. Intercontinental ballistic missiles rolled through Red Square in front of the world's cameras. During the Cold War, these parades sent a direct message to the West. The Soviet Union possessed nuclear power capable of changing the world forever. Ironically, the first Victory Day parade happened back in 1945. But Joseph Stalin later stopped the celebrations because he feared World War II generals might become too popular and threaten his authority. After 1965, the parades returned larger than ever. Part 7. North Korea. A warning to the world. Few countries use military parades as dramatically as North Korea. In 2013, Pyongyang held a massive parade marking the 60th anniversary of the end of the Korean War. Missiles rolled through Kim Il-sung Square. Thousands of troops marched with near-perfect synchronization. Images of Kim Jong-un dominated the event. To many observers, this wasn't simply a national celebration. It was a warning, a message aimed directly at neighboring countries and global rivals. Part 8. China's massive display of modern power. September 2015. China organized one of the largest military parades in modern history. The event marked the 75th anniversary of victory over Japan in World War II. More than 12,000 troops participated. Tanks, missiles, and fighter jets filled Beijing's streets and skies. Over 30 foreign leaders attended the ceremony. The message was unmistakable. China wanted the world to witness the rise of its military power. Part 9. France and Bastille Day. Not every military parade carries an atmosphere of fear. In France, Bastille Day parades combine military tradition with national celebration. In 2017, Paris hosted a major parade commemorating both French National Day and the 100th anniversary of America entering World War I. Thousands of soldiers marched down the Champs-Élysées alongside horses, helicopters, and fighter jets. World leaders attended the ceremony, and the event proved that military parades still remain powerful symbols in the modern world. Ending from ancient Rome, to Napoleon, to Moscow, Pyongyang, Beijing, and Paris. Military parades have never been just soldiers marching through streets. They are symbols of victory, of national pride, of propaganda, and sometimes a signal that a nation wants the entire world to pay attention.